In this lesson, we're going to create a flat file database. That means there's only one table and it's unrelated to any other tables. It might be an Excel that we might save as an Excel sheet or a comma-separated value sheet. We might save it just as a text file. Anything that is that simple single table of information unrelated to any other is a flat file database. So we want to just make a simple contact list. We're going to use this later in the lesson that we do in Microsoft Word on how to do mail merge and automatically personalize up to thousands of letters or emails instantly without hours and hours of work. So I want you to open an Excel spreadsheet. We want to type in first name, last name, street address. I will often copy and paste, and then I will, so that I don't have to go back and forth or Alt-Tab between. We'll go first name, tab, last name, tab, street address. Now when you are typing as a database for the web, you'll want to make sure that you're not using capitals, you're not using spaces or special symbols, or even things like date. You don't want to use anything that might be reserved by the database. Sometimes you'll have an issue with that. Of course, when you pass it on to your techie geek, they will fix it for you anyway. I'm going to right click here and delete this garbage cell, which brings this back up to A1. The reason we're typing first name and last name separate is so that we can use them separately. If we put them all together, it's a little bit more complicated to say, Dear Jen. We have to say, Dear Jen Smith. So that's why we separate these. Next, I want you to put in the names, first names, last names of the three people sitting nearest you so that you have a little flat file database. For the street address, we're not going to ask them for their personal address. We're going to fill in 1 Georgian Drive, Barrie, Ontario. We're going to use capital O, capital N as our province. Remember, garbage in, garbage out. If we type ON for one, ONT for another, and Ontario for another, we'll have a little bit of a hard time selecting, especially if we search for people in Ontario. We'll miss the people who are in ON or ONT. For the postal code, I'm going to pull up the Georgian Drive address. There's Prospect Drive as well. And then I'm going to paste that postal code in here. Now, I want to fill down, but not in series. You'll see that I've got 1 Georgian Drive filled down. Interestingly enough, if instead of just using that fill button, I drag down, it naturally assumes I want to step in series, and it changes it from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. So we'll select the cells that we want to fill, use that fill down key, and just say fill down, and it knows that we just want standard. And then, of course, last name. And then again, we save this. We're going to use this later in our mail merge. So save onto this, save it to your G drive, call it contact list and your name or your student number so that we can pull this up. You should have created some folders in your G drive for all of your courses, and then inside of your information technology course, you should have a folder for Word and a folder for Excel. Put this one in your Excel folder. And that's it for creating a simple flat file database. You've just created one that we can now use in future work. We're going to edit this a little bit more when we look at CRM and how to personalize this even further than just saying, Dear Deb. We can also include some personal information that might help it feel more like a personal letter. And that's it for this lesson.